call. I'm super excited to be here tonight, back from Bali. It was the most amazing trip ever. Thank you, Organo, for organizing this. I've always told my entire team incentives are the best way for you to grow your business. It's an exciting way to see yourself grow and climb the ladder, getting your team on there. And we had a blast in Bali. It was absolutely delicious. It was phenomenal. The sights, the sounds, everything was so fabulous and worthwhile. So congratulations to everyone on this call tonight, on this platform tonight that has qualified for one of the 5 incentive trips. And if you didn't, buckle up, because pretty soon we're going to be announcing the next incentive. And if we haven't already, which I don't think we have yet, because I've been crazy busy dealing with time zone changes, and let me tell you, it's been a little bit crazy on our end. So for those of you that know me, welcome back to call. Love to connect with everyone, with our tribe here in Organo. And for those of you that are new in the business or getting to know a lot of the speakers that come on Sunday nights, my name is Dianne Solano. I'm a diamond in the company of Organo, a freshly new diamond. I hit the rank of diamond in May, which was an absolute blessing. And I am super excited about hosting tonight's call. So I'm going to give everybody maybe 2 to 3 minutes. I'm really excited about this topic because it's the fundamental on how I built this business. It's also the fundamental on how I live my life. And it's been mind-blowing, life-changing for me. And it's the little secrets of success, personal success, business success, relationship success, health success. Everything is based on this principle. And I don't want the latecomers that are logging in and trying to get all those Zoom numbers correct and, you know, where am I calling from and where am I going and where's the email, because I'm actually one of those personalities. So grab your favorite beverage tonight if you can. Mine tonight happens to be a Organo hot chocolate. It's cold. I'm speaking to you live from Toronto, Canada. You know, I was just speaking to our moderator who has been so wonderful setting this up today that, you know, I have to be blessed because Toronto is a fabulous city. We don't get it half as bad as some people, some cities in the States, but nonetheless, it's cold. And I'm warming up tonight with a fabulous hot chocolate. So if you are taking your favorite Organo beverage tonight, put in the chat and tell me what it is that you're drinking. Share with the community. Let's interact. Let's bring the energy. You know, I'm segueing, giving you little hints on tonight's call. Let's bring the energy forward. You will receive what you're willing to put into it. That's just the law of a lot of the, you know, strategies to creating a very powerful life. So today I'm using my favorite mug, and I love this quote. It says, "What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?" And I found this mug at an airport traveling probably about, I would say, at least 10 years now. And when I saw this mug, I'm a big fan of surrounding myself around quotes and images and things that just bring me up to a higher vibration, that make me smile, that make me feel good. And tonight's call is so perfect for the topic we're going to be discussing around a quote like this. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? If you absolutely knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? I really want you to think about that. If you want to share on the thread, go right ahead. But if you knew for sure you couldn't fail, what would you do? And that's a serious question we got to ask ourselves. You know, it will open up so many doors when you really sit and give yourself a chance to be radically honest and be fearless about what it is you would love to accomplish in your life, what it is that you would love to live, what is it you would love to experience, what it is you would love to let go of, because that's really powerful. So welcome everyone to the call. As you're logging in, I'm actually going to start a little bit of screen sharing tonight. I made some slides. If you're on the phone, do your best you can to follow. If you're following live and you're, you know, on any of our platforms where you can see the slides, it'll be very helpful for you to see them, because I'm going to do a little bit of surface stuff and I'm going to go a little bit deep. So really, I encourage everyone tonight, if you can jump on a screen and you know, watch a little bit of the presentation, that'll be a-okay. So we're going to go with our presentation tonight. Let me get it starting from the get-go. And our topic tonight for Conversations of Success is a topic that's very dear and close to my heart. Like I was telling everyone earlier, a couple minutes ago that have been logging in, this is the principle basically on how I built my diamond, solid diamond. You know, we're just building from pin to pin to pin really beautifully, because we use a lot of concepts behind energy. And the title tonight is called Success in Business the energy entrepreneur. You know, we are kidding ourselves if we think that business, your organo business, your life is just purely rational, that it's completely logical, that it's from doing to doing to doing. There's an element of truth to that. Absolutely, there's going to be moments where you need to just buckle up and do the critical things, what we need to do on this plane. But truly, it's about our energy, and our energy has everything to do with the success in life that we're living. You know, I'm going to be bringing a little bit of science to it. And the reason why is because if you're like me, this concept of energy is not woo-woo, it's not new age, it's not a new concept, it is hardcore science. And I know this because I speak of this from personal experience. The element of energy is absolutely fundamental for personal and professional success. And unfortunately, it's not really talked about too much yet in the professional aspect. So I want you to really think about, you know, how much energy you're really bringing forth to your organo business, to your personal life, and every single element of it. Because our organo business is an extension of who we are, and it's going to be an extension of how you vibrate and how you show up in this world. And what's happening now is that the old ways of doing business, the old corporations, the way things were structured before is no longer, you know, the way the paradigm's working anymore. Those old structures are actually falling apart. So because of that, we need to also evolve with these concepts, which are really, really powerful. So again, we're starting off with an interesting topic. I'm on a new computer tonight, so you have to bear with me. Great. So my first slide I'd like to start off with is a little bit of my journey. Just to clarify, energy entrepreneur, the reason why I'm bringing this forth was because my journey started with me not being aware that I was creating a life I did not want to live. I had a life where I was in a very, you know, unstable relationship. It was like the Titanic. I saw it sinking and I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere positive at the rate it was going at. I could foreshadow, I could foresee where things were going to fall apart. And that's when my panic set in. And I was broken. I was hurt. I was devastated because I couldn't believe that I had put in so much effort into something to wake up and realize it was nothing that I actually hoped it to be. And I felt really deflated. It was like living Groundhog Day over and over and over again. How was I attracting the same result over and over? So it led me to really do some soul searching. And I went within going, what is it that needs to shift? I don't get it. Because on paper, it all looks great and it's all working out, but it never turns out that way. And in the process of the fear, of the panic, the pain, because change doesn't happen when you're comfortable. Change usually happens when you're under pain, you know, the diagnosis, you can't pay your bills, the mortgage, the bankruptcy, the relationship. Pain usually is a wake-up call. And in those moments, I just remember praying every night at 3 in the morning because I couldn't sleep, thinking, what am I going to do? I don't have the financial resources to make ends meet. I don't have stocks and real estate and all the traditional things you typically think will build wealth. I knew I wanted a different life. I just wanted a different life. I wanted to be financially free. I wanted to be emotionally free. I wanted to have location freedom. I wanted to have time freedom. I wanted to have true wealth. The 4 freedoms, like my wonderful colleague, Dr. Sachin Patel, always talks about it. And he made it so clear that a lot of people are striving for this. And in that journey of saying, you know what was working no longer works anymore. That's when I eventually, by coincidence, which by the way, there are no coincidences in life, I actually created that. I wanted so badly a different life. I had to make a decision that I wanted something new. And that's when I actually met my first mentor who shook me to the core at a convention that I did. It was a Hay House workshop. Dr. Joe Dispenza is actually one of the leading experts in energy and quantum physics. I loved his work and did follow his work for many, many years. He taught something called neuroplasticity. It's basically a way you can break the habit of being yourself. That's actually the title of one of his books. And what I loved about Dr. Joe Dispenza and meeting him was that it was at this workshop before he became famous, because right now he's really recognized worldwide from the work that he's doing. You know, we're seeing so many changes in business, in health, in relationship, because he's really teaching the science behind this. But ultimately, I found out about his work. I was following his work and I did his workshop. And in that workshop is when he pulled me aside. He said, Dianne, I need you to understand all the pain, all that stuff you're going through, you are creating it because you are attracting it. And I was attracting it without knowing I was attracting it. So maybe some of you on this call tonight are attracting things that are not serving you. You know, whether it's a bad relationship, whether it's your business isn't performing the way you want it to do in Organo, you have to become the observer. And by the way, this concept of metacognition is becoming the observer. You stand back and you take a look at your life without getting emotionally attached to it. Become the observer of what's working and what's not working. Because when you do so, it's only then you come to realizations. And that's exactly what I started practicing. I started practicing looking at myself outside of myself, looking at myself on how I interacted with other people, looking at myself without getting triggered and being pulled into the drama, but rather observe myself and how I was handling it. And only then could I start to realize there were certain things that weren't working for me. I love this quote because it says, once you realize you deserve better, letting go will be the best decision ever. And that's exactly what happened to me. I realized there were things I had to let go of. And maybe someone on this call will identify with that. Are you in a relationship that isn't serving you? Are you doing habits? Are you doing things? Are you eating the wrong foods? Are you smoking? Are you drinking? Are you staying up late? What's not serving you that you have to let go of? Is it a job that's holding you back? Is it your circle of friends that maybe aren't supporting you in this venture? I don't know what it is, but you have to realize that in the process of change, that means letting go, and letting go can be painful. You know, I always tell people, you want to take inventory of what's working for you and what's not. And I'll give a couple of tips towards the end of the call of what you can do to do that. So in the process of letting go, in the process of really making the decision that I wanted a new life, that I wanted to have these outcomes, and I would just dream about what that felt like. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it looked like. I just knew what I wanted to feel. I wanted absolute freedom. And I get emotional about it because it was so real for me. And I'm sure so many of you on this call is like, oh, I just want to break free from the bonds of having, you know, not being able to pay my bills, of whatever it is that you're struggling with. And there's a concept in quantum physics, in the concepts of energy, what you seek is seeking you. In come Organo. The opportunity found me because I changed. And I get so emotional because it was so real for me. I just remember 3 months, 4 months, 6 months after all that storm, all that chaos, Dr. Rakowski flew into Toronto and he was lecturing on a nutrition program with another company. And he was my mentor many years in health and wellness. I took a self-paid maternity leave, and that's part of my panic was because I had no financial resource to fall back on. And I knew I was going to become a single mom, and I really panicked, and I approached Dr. Bob and I said, Dr. Bob, how do I stay in the industry of health and wellness and still be able to make an impact? Because I love being on purpose. I love the industry of health and wellness, but how do I really make some income? And he said, Dianne, have you heard of Organo? I said, no, I had no clue what he was talking about. I've been out of the field for a few years. And he said, look, Organo in 3.5 years has given me time freedom. And I never stopped to think about time freedom. Our biggest currency right now is time. Money will come and go. Relationships will come and go. Things will come and go. But your time is so valuable. You will never get that back again. So you want to spend it in a way that fills your heart, whether it's with your family and friends, whether it's traveling the world, whether it's writing blogs, whether it's working out and being a health nut. It doesn't matter. It's your time. And you are here on this earth to have an impact and enjoy yourself and be the best version of you. But how can you do that when you're in survival? You can't. So the vehicle of Organo came into my world, and I knew that if I partnered with an influencer who always performed and always was just excellence, was Dr. Bob and Kelly Rakowski. And when I knew that I partnered with them, I had no clue how to do network marketing. I just knew that I wouldn't fail if I stuck by their side. Tip number 1, stick to your plugged in upline. It is so, so powerful. And I didn't know how to do network marketing. I'd never done network marketing. And by the way, if you've never done network marketing before, if you've never earned 6 to 7 figures in network marketing, chances are you don't know what you're doing. I'm just calling it straight out. You could be the best doctor, the best lawyer, the best whatever. you're going to need to get coachable. You're going to need to be hungry to really take this from here to here, whatever that looks like for you. And, you know, I love this quote from Richard Branson. It's not the best graphics, but I just absolutely love it. And he says, if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure how you're going to do it, just say yes and do it and learn how to do it later. And that's the way I saw this. Yes, Dr. Bob and Kelly, I don't know how, I don't know what, but I am hungry and I will learn it. And it's called building the plane and flying it as you go. You know, you got to make a decision you're actually going to win if you want to win big in this. And you have to say yes to the opportunity, but you also have to say yes to you and all the learning curves that are going to come with it. And that's exactly what was my attitude. See, when I realized that my energy needed to change so my future could change, so that I could attract the right people, circumstances, things consciously, like really consciously, that's when things started to shift for me. And I promise you, everyone on this call, if you are focused and really aware of what it is that you want, you can attract the circumstances that are going to lead you in that direction. And I knew that if I had just stuck with it, it would work. Did I have ups and downs? Absolutely. But this was my attitude. I love this quote from this martial artist, you know, out in Europe. And he says, you know, I don't know how I'm going to win. I just know I'm not going to lose. And that was my attitude. I knew that if I was going to do this, come heck or high water, it was going to work or I was going to die trying. And I had so much people and so many resistance against me, but I chose to do it anyways. So you're always a decision away from a totally different life, absolutely different life. My decision to join Organo and to build it and to show up and to pick myself up every time I got stumbled upon or I fell was a massive decision that just kept on leading me on the right path. There is energy behind a true decision. I love one of my mentors in network marketing, Mr. Eric Worre, who actually coaches seven-figure income earners in this industry. One of the things he always says is make a decision. Make a decision. If you don't make a decision, you're not going to have the shift you need to do to start having some completely different result. You have to make the decision. The light has to go off or it has to turn on. There has to be a huge switch to make that shift happen. I love the story of one of our distributors this week. You know, we're coming towards the end of the month, which by the way, just ended on Halloween night a couple nights ago. Halloween night. And, you know, she was very close to the next rank. She's been in the business for 2 years. Probably could have hit that rank maybe 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago. But somehow this month, she made the decision. Something in her snapped. I've gotten so good at sensing when distributors are really ready to be ready. She was done being at her pin. She was ready to move on to the next. And she said, you know what? It will be done tonight. I don't care if it's Halloween. I don't care if I have to be on the phone till midnight, but it will happen. And I knew in my heart, that's a leader. That is a person that is very clear on the outcome. She took her life by the horns and she made the decision to make it happen. And I told her when it actually happened, the next day I said, welcome to the leadership. I'm telling you right now, if you want to be a leader and you want to thrive in this, it all starts with a decision because it's the energy behind the decision that drives the change. So I'm going to segue a little bit into the concept of energy, because this is where I start to see people who don't really get it. This is a science now. Again, not woo-woo, not new age, not like hokey pokey. It's real. I got so obsessed when Dr. Joe approached me before Organo. And he said, Dianne, everything you've created in your life, you've created. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're not aware that you're doing this. But I promise you, if you understand the emotions that you want to create for your future, hold on to that because you will start to have the shift. So I got so obsessed with the work and I started to really study brainwaves. I started to study the physiology of what happens when we start shifting and changing our energy. So I broke it down to some simple slides just to kind of wake up and plant some seeds for everyone on this call to either dive deeper, do some more research, or run with a baton with this and run with it. Whatever you need to close the gap of you understanding that you are in the driver's seat of your life is powerful. So we are beyond our five senses. We know if we can't see it, think it, smell it, it exists. It really, really does. And this picture of me, for those of you that can see the slides, is me actually with electrodes on my brain. We were studying brain waves because brain wave changes actually have a lot to do with your ability to tap in within. And I got really, really excited about the work, and I started following the science. For those of you that are very science driven, that wants the facts, one of my favorite documentaries that really dives deep into this, it was actually a take from The Secret. So many people on this call might have already seen The Secret. Super, super famous documentary, came out maybe 15 years ago, if not more. And it was kind of like the wake-up call when we started to tell the world that we are really about our emotions and our energy. But it was too late for me. I'm an analytical mind. I have a big science background. I need to know the how. That's just how I'm wired. I'm a true nerd at heart. And it was a documentary called What the Bleep Do We Know? Down the Rabbit Hole. That documentary was where I actually found a lot of quantum physicists that were talking about how we're not particles. For those of you that go back in time and remember your science, we're actually waves. And waves are the study of quantum physics and how we interfere with absolutely everything. And because we are waves, you know, our energy are actually waves and we're connected to everything, waves essentially cannot be separated. So we are connected to every single living thing on this earth. And the way this works is we have about 50 trillion cells in our body. That's a lot of cells. Every day we're making new cells. We're consistently driving that biochemistry. But those 50 trillion cells in our body are like a battery. It does a positive and negative charge, just like your battery does at home, right? And every living cell is like a battery. It has electrical charge to it. Every single cell, those 50 trillion cells actually have an electric charge. And when you start to look at the number of cells that you have, and you multiply 1.4 volts times 50 trillion, you're gonna have about 700 trillion volts of electricity in your body right now. I have 700 trillion volts as I speak. Every listener on this call, whether you're on the phone, whether you're in Asia and Africa and, you know, in North America, all of you right now are shooting volts of electricity through your body, through your cells. And this is really important to understand, because when you're doing that, you become a radio station. Your frequency, your energy, that what you're vibrating is like a radio station, right? Everything you think and feel creates this electromagnetic frequency. This is the science. And this is tuning into similar frequencies. So like attracts like. That's how this works. Things that you resonate with you in response. So what I often use the analogy is I tell people, look, do you want to be 99.9 FM radio, anger and frustrated? You know, everything's going wrong. Everything doesn't work out for you. It's so frustrating. It's exhausting. I don't have enough time. Or do you want to really get conscious of those thoughts? Start working with that. Start changing your language. Changing it is what you're thinking, and become a new radio station like 102.5 FM, empowered and abundant, where you're actually attracting opportunity. You're attracting the right distributors. You're attracting the right customers. You're working with the proper uplines. These are all examples of how your frequency is actually creating a reality. So how many of you on this call is feeling frustrated with your business? Take a look at it and take inventory and say, hey, you know what? What is it? What is it that's working? What is it that's working? What am I consistently attracting? Because that was my story. I was on a radio wave I didn't even know I was dialing into. And I kept on attracting the same, you know, experience, whether it was under, you know, a different person, it was the same experience at the end of the day. So what I tell people is the most important conversation you're going to have with yourself in your life is the one you have between your head. And energy is so real. I absolutely love this slide. It was, I actually found this doctor at that documentary that I mentioned earlier, What the Bleep Do We Know? Dr. Masaru Emoto, Japanese, actually started studying the concepts of emotion placed on water. He got a glass of water and had Buddhist monks meditate on the water and send it love and compassion. And under a microscope, these beautiful crystals of snowflakes appeared. They were gorgeous and they were magical, and they were so their patterns of fractal patterns were just outstanding. And then he had another glass of water and he had people just, you know, throw hate, like, I hate you, I'll kill you, you're a fool, negative words, negative thoughts. And if you can see this slide, you will see these pictures of what that looked like. Completely disoriented, random, awful. And every single emotion created a whole new crystal of that water molecule. This was documented science. Imagine if our thoughts and our intentions on a glass of water can change a molecular structure to this level. And where bodies, by the way, are made of 70% water, those thoughts, those internal thoughts, those loving messages or not loving messages are having an impact on every single cell, every single thought, every single thing that you are vibrating with, you're creating in your body, you're creating with what you attract. So, you know, again, I'm just bringing some of the hard science to the plate because I want people to wake up and say, you know what, I want to do this business with my heart and have the best of intentions, or I want to get out of this particular challenge that I'm having because it is real. And I always tell people the most important conversation you're going to have is the conversation you have with yourself, because when you're going to go through the challenges in building this business, especially, I've never had an industry that's going to test you personally so big, so strong, so fast. I always tell people Organo is really a self-development business. It is, you know, it's an energy-based business. How you feel and how you think about it, how you work with it, how you work with your teams, how you work with your customers is going to have an impact on your result. So what you want to do is manage the internal thoughts. There are going to be moments where you're going to be deflated. There are going to be moments where you're going to get upset. That's okay. Feelings are feedback. Take inventory of what that means, you know, and then sit there and decide you're going to now transform the negativity. So you can't get rid of something that feels negative. What you can do is you can transform it. Start giving it less attention. Start focusing on what is working. Plan, do, review. I love that concept from Eric Worre. You know, that was one of his biggest concepts where, you know, plan, do, review. You're going to have some effect in your business. You're going to review it, and you're just going to go back and just be a better student and execute in a bigger, better fashion, whatever it is that you're challenged with. So going back to this concept of electromagnetic frequency and energy and building your business as an energy entrepreneur is that the electrical charge you attract, that you emit, is actually going to attract every person, every circumstance, and will affect everything in your life, good or bad. So again, I'm bringing to light a little bit of what these concepts are about because your brain is like a tuning fork. Everything you think and feel is changing your molecular structure. It's changing your cells. It's attracting. It's becoming a radio station, and you're bringing in that reality. So I always go back and I tell people, look, are you a vibrational match to the outcome you are seeking? Are you a vibrational match to becoming a sapphire? Maybe that's the rank that you're excited about. Are you a vibrational match to becoming a diamond? Are you a vibrational match to becoming an emerald? Are you a vibrational match to being dual team qualified? What is it that you want? And what decisions do you have to make to get there? Or what decisions are you not making that are not letting you go on to the next level? Because really, the universe doesn't stop watching you. Universe, God, the higher source, whatever you want to call it, that's irrelevant. We are more than our five senses. And I remember this concept for myself. I was very challenged. I remember being a Ruby. And I remember at that time, Dr. Bob Rakowski actually reached out to me. And he said, Dianne, guess what? I'm going to be doing the Millionaire Mentorship Call. And I would love for you to intro me on the call. And I was like, oh my God. Number one, what a privilege. Number two, OMG, like I'm just new in Organo. I'm not that, you know, experienced. I'm not that, and I could just feel all that human self-doubt coming up. And by the way, I was exhausted. I had a really heavy weekend. I didn't sleep that time. Dylan was still a little bit younger. And I was just burned out. And I remember thinking to myself, I actually don't want to do it. That's my truth. I don't want to do that intro because that means I would have to prepare for it. And I was completely unprepared. However, I sat there going, Dianne, if you say no, you're not really saying no that you don't want to do it. You're saying no to the universe. You're telling the universe that you're not ready to be on the Millionaire Mentorship Call. You're telling the universe you're not ready to stand up as a leader. You're telling the universe you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone so that you could have the life of the dream that you really wanted. See, this wasn't about the introduction. This wasn't about, you know, getting over my exhaustion or my fear of not being good enough. it was about me saying no to the universe of wanting to be that bigger, higher, faster pin, that leader. I wanted to win in this. So now when I have the team and they reach out and they're like, you know what? And I ask them, hey, ready to intro tonight at the hotel meeting? Let's go. And they look at me and they're like, oh, I'm not ready. And I'm like, be careful what you say. Lovingly coach you. Think about that. Because if you're not ready, it's not that you're not ready tonight. No big deal. I can go, I can find someone else to intro. That is not a problem. But you're saying no to the universe. You're not getting prepared to become the leader that you want to be. See, really this industry, it's all about leadership. Leadership is where the income lies. It will take time for you to grow into leadership shoes, some faster than others, but it doesn't matter. There is the concept of you're either a leader or you're not. You could be a leader of an organization of two. You could be a leader of just a person showing up in your life and leading. It's a different energy. It's a different frequency. So you have to decide what decisions are you not making, because what you're not making is having an impact biochemically, electricity-wise, frequency-wise. Your vibrational match is not that of a leader. I remember the books that they used to sell at the OG University, and I'm not sure if we can still access those. It was really cool. They were leather-binded books, and I bought one in red and I bought one in blue to take my notes, and it's all about, you know, my path to diamond. Such a beautiful book. And I remember the first thing I did was I opened up the cover, and the first thing I wrote in beautiful writing, and I just kind of like decorated it. I said, are you a vibrational match to being a diamond? ? And that was a check-in on me, saying, am I being a vibrational match to the pin that I want to be? And I asked everyone on this call, take inventory, understand what decisions are you not making for you to actually go out and reach that level that you want to succeed in. And it doesn't matter what it is. And it's okay to start, you know, on a level that's believable for you. So right now, getting to diamond seems impossible, then don't go with that. Because if it feels contractive, if it doesn't feel good, then go with emerald, go with ruby. It's okay, because when you get there, you'll be able to see just a little bit higher, just a little bit further. There's nothing wrong with having a vision. It may not be right for the stars, but that's okay. Start somewhere, but start getting uncomfortable, because like they say, there is no growth in comfort at all. What decisions are you not making? Are you deciding not to do presentations? Are you deciding not to sample? Are you deciding not to follow up? Find out what it is that's standing in your way and start bridging the gap. Maybe you need a little bit of coaching behind that. Maybe you need to follow a mentor in that specific area. Maybe you need to connect with someone else in your upline. I'm not sure what it is, but you really have to figure that out. And, you know, even things at home, you know, are you taking on tasks that aren't really serving you to grow your business? And that was one of the coaching pieces I got was, hey, you know what, if I can delegate it, I will outsource it. I will delegate it. I'll give it to someone else. Do I need to dump it? Are there things that I'm doing to procrastinate or things that really aren't worth my time right now that I could just easily erase and dump? Then do that. Or am I dating it? Am I putting it on the calendar to either get it done or get it accomplished? And by the way, I'm going to segue into that comment. The calendar, I always tell my new distributors, my current distributors, and I actually go by this rule, my calendar is my best indicator of my income. It has to be in the calendar. This is so huge. So what decisions are you not making? Are you not opening up your calendar and filling it in with appointments, one-on-ones, three-way calls, presentations, training? What is it? Because I can tell you your income based on your calendar and what you're doing and what you're not doing. So I'd love everybody on this call tonight, come up with 3 decisions, 3 things that maybe you're not doing that are standing in the way from you becoming the best version of yourself in this particular industry. You need to become a vibrational match to what that is. Are you showing up in a way that is prepared? Are you dressing the part? Are you really going out into the world and doing what it is you need to do to make it happen? The next area I'm going to ask you, based on this concept of energy, vibration, how you're going to operate your business that translates into your life, all parts of it, by the way, is are you a vibrational match to this company's vision? Because the Organo that was around 3-4 years ago is now upgraded. It is now Organo 2.0. Everything evolves in this world. You're either growing or you're dying. That's just the way this world works. So when the company steps up and says, hey, we're going to have a partnership with IBM, and we're going to have this incredible app that you can now, you know, check and backtrack and find out what farmer grew your beautiful organic coffee. We're going to up the game. And if people want to tip him 25 cents, $1, well, guess what that does for the farmer? It starts to create wealth and abundance for every person in the supply chain. That is a very conscious way of doing business. Are you a vibrational match to that? Do you operate this business from your heart? Do you come in with good intention? Because if you're a vibrational match, you are here on this call today and you're ready to expand and you're ready to join the leadership. We need people that are hungry, coachable, open hearts that want to have an impact. And by default, have a beautiful life of freedom. Freedom, again, location, time, finances, health, abundance, emotional freedom, because that's ultimately what we're all looking for. Mr. Paul Caldwell described in his last convention in Organo, which was the one in Florida, where I had a chance to speak on stage, and he talked about the HIT: honesty, integrity, and transparency. I was truly honored to be part of the Global Council, where we got to sit around and really get to understand his vision, what it's about, talk a little bit about what's happening in the field. He's got really big plans for us, guys. I'm telling you right now, I have never felt so stoked, so excited about what this company's doing and where it's going. Bags for Life, are you kidding me? What a beautiful, brilliant incentive. You know, all the new verticals coming along. This man means business. And here I'll tell you right now, he operates on the concepts of quantum law. I actually had the chance to have conversations with him. He sees the world completely different. He's very expansive. I love how he doesn't play small. So we're at a phase where we're rejigging a lot of the things that weren't working. And by the way, chaos is what always happens before reorganization shows up in the world. You will see that in every Big Bang Theory. You know, the earth had to explode first before order came back into place. Chaos is always what happens before order shows up again. So there's a lot of restructure, reorganization, but I'm telling you right now, if you're a leader, you are part of the vision, you buckle up through the bumpy roads, you stay connected to your team, and you figure out a way to make it flow, because it is all absolutely possible. And that's exactly what the team has done. I feel super blessed to have the amazing upline that we have, because we are all attracting each other. And I'm so excited about the cross-line leadership. How incredible is that? We have an incredible compensation plan where we pool our resources. I get to connect and huddle with fabulous, fabulous builders like Blanca Sachuras, power woman. You know, I have such an honor to be able to go and have chats with people like Martha, who's building in Hungary. You know, we have all these beautiful leaders that are popping up around the world. Odile, beautiful big hearts. Like, these women are on passion and they're with their teams through thick and thin. That's what leadership is all about. And I'm really excited where things are going, because those that are sticking through it, that are actually going through the growth pains, because that's what happens when labor happens, is there is a lot of uncertainty, but it's all restructuring and reorganization. So again, if you're on this call and you're ready to step up, welcome to the vision, welcome to the vibration. What doesn't serve leaves you. And this I often see even in relationships. When relationships don't work, no one gets rejected. It's energy that doesn't match anymore. If the frequency doesn't match, it leaves. Old people that might have been in the company, upline, downline, crossline, whatever, the frequency didn't match. That's all it means. And you got to decide what your frequency about really is about, and are you a vibrational match to the vision? And if you haven't cast a vision, you need to, because that is really where the top earners are getting made. If you want to become 6 figures, 7 figures, you need to have a vision. You need to want to create a legacy. You really need to want to go out into the world and create something bigger and better, because here's what I know. When you get out of survival, which is essentially what happened, I could start paying my bills. You know, I paid for the roof that I was dripping on for God knows how long. You know, there was a concrete sidewalk that was absolutely falling apart. It was a liability now because I couldn't afford to get it fixed. Done. This summer, done. All those little leaks in my life were all getting sealed up. When you start stepping out of survival, you start stepping into creation. And that's when you sit back going, okay, I've got my personal needs taken care of. How can I contribute to this world? How can I become a creator in the vision of Organo. Organo is just a platform for you to become a better, bigger version of who you want to be in the world. Decide what that looks like. And if you don't know yet, that's okay. Start somewhere, but you've got to start, because without casting a vision, you're not going to go very far. And network marketing is all about being able to cast a vision. So another area I like to talk about while we're talking about frequency energy is sometimes people don't do what it takes to win because they either don't really understand the power of the business model. So I'm going to go back to the power of this business model, because while we're working with our frequency and our energy to do the right things, when you really get what this kind of business model can do for you, hands down, it is the most powerful vehicle for true generational wealth that I've ever seen in my life, with no risk and no capital upfront for the average person. You see, unlike a lot of businesses, you need to put up a lot of capital. You need to go in with some skin in the game. The challenge here is that network marketing has had a stigma for many years because people see it as a get-rich-quick stigma or scheme, and it doesn't work that way. So when you understand the power of the business model and you really get that what you're working for today, it doesn't pay you a paycheck like an employee mindset does. You got to get over that. And I myself had to go through this painful process. You know, at the beginning of my building phases, if you're brand new and you're like, wow, you know, I am just doing all this action, I don't see any money, trust me, it will come. There's no such thing as failure, there's only quitting. So in sticking through with this, you don't come in with capital. You don't come in with 100,000, you don't come in with 50,000. You come in with sweat equity. You come in with your network. You come in with your willingness to get coached, your willingness to be hungry. This is how you build a powerful business model, is you learn and you get better. And as you learn, as you get better, it starts to match your frequency. So if you understand residual income, I love this quote, you would actually walk through a brick wall to get it. Because when you understand the power of compounding, absolutely massive. So this is where I like to pull out a little bit of the numbers, because I myself didn't even understand the numbers until I went Sapphire, believe it or not. I just was so focused on getting it done that I decided I was just going to trust the process. And let me tell you, the process was very painful, because there were moments where I doubted myself many, many, many times. And many of you this call are going to go through that, and that's okay. It's not about falling down, it's about how quickly you get up again. The most important conversation you're going to have in your life is the one you have in your head. It's the conversation you have with yourself. When you're building your business, what is your energy like? You're going to go through a mixer where maybe nobody signs up. You're going to go through a presentation where maybe somebody had something negative to say. It happens. And yeah, it's not going to feel good, but that's okay, because feelings are feedback. Were you not prepared enough? Maybe you chose the wrong crowd to present to. Maybe your invitation was misleading. I don't know. Sit back and say, hey, radical honesty, what does this experience teach me? And in knowing that, what you do is you understand, you learn, and then you work on that energy again. Get around the people that are winning. Law of association is so real in your life. I can tell you how much you're going to make, what kind of outcome you're going to have, what success level you can possibly have based on the 5 people you hang around the most. So if you really want to win in this, what I did when I wanted to cry and I came home completely deflated because it happened, the first thing I did is I would go to my Facebook group where our team actually had a group, and I would plug into the leadership. I needed to hear Jacob Rakowski's voice on his 3-minute video. I needed to listen to Dr. Bob Rakowski. I needed to listen to Mr. Namdo. I needed to listen to the upline because I needed to vibrate with them. I had to change my frequency. So it wasn't about shutting down. It was about transforming and getting fired up. And that's the important part of it. So when we come to generational wealth, do you realize that network marketing will provide you generational wealth, which means what you make today can be generational, and you can pass that down to your kids and your grandkids. That's asset income. That is income that is made in your sleep. So if you had an extra $1,000 every month from Organo, that is the equivalent of having $250,000 in your bank, earning about 5%, if you're lucky to earn that. If you're generating $5,000 roughly a month, that is the equivalent of having $1.2 million in your bank account, creating that kind of return, that kind of interest on 5%. If you're making $10,000 a month, that's the equivalent of having $2.5 million in your bank account. This is the concept. Is it easier to make $2.5 million and then try to find that kind of return on investment for lending out your money at 5%? Or would it be easier to just make 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is, sky's the limit. You're a business for yourself, but you'll never be by yourself. You dictate what you want out of this. But that is true generational wealth and asset income. Nowhere in the world are you going to have this opportunity to make this kind of residual income ever outside without having some level of capital or risk. And that's exactly the reason why I'm here today, was because I said, what energy do I got to get clear on? Who do I need to become? What do I got to surround myself by? What gap do I need to close? What do I need to understand better? What do I need to get better at? That's exactly the science behind all of this, is that you have to get clear on what you want. You have to get so clear on what it feels like. You know, sometimes we don't know what we want, but we know what we want to feel. See, money's just money. You could have $1 million in the bank account and have no health, no time, no loved ones, no family, and that money means nothing. The inverse can happen as well. You could probably not have a lot of money, but you have a lot of people that love you and support you, and you have peace, and you have tranquility, and you have health, and you have opportunity. Money's just a vehicle for you to have an emotion. What is it that you're in for Organo with? Like, why did you join? Did you want more health? We can help you with that. Did you want more time freedom? We can help you with that. Did you want more emotional freedom? We can help you with that. Location freedom? We can help you with that. You got to get clear on what you want and understand how you're going to use this as a vehicle as expansive as you want to be. And then become a vibrational match to what that is. So part of the whole concept with this energy entrepreneur is that when you're clear on what you want, when you make a decision, because again, I talked about the science, it is there. And for those of you that want to go through the resources and find a little more, go right ahead. But the right people, the right circumstances, the right things will start to show up to create that reality because you attracted it. Good or bad, it's because you attracted it. So start now working within your teams, within your friendships, within your cross-lines, within your customers. Start vibrating health and happiness and abundance. You can't bring scarcity into a world of abundance if that's what you want to create. If you have that energy, it's counterintuitive. So you have to start changing that in order for you to get the result that you're looking for. I love this quote. You know, for those of you that may not know, because we have a lot of new people joining all the time on these calls, Think and Grow Rich Napoleon Hill, you know, we have a partnership with this incredible book. And you can see our Organo logo on it. And if you haven't picked up a copy, I highly recommend that you do. Because the Think and Grow Rich Napoleon Hill Foundation is all about what we talked about today, which is the frequency, energy, and what you do things with. See, this book was written in the 1930s. It's probably the most abundant read book in all of business since the 30s. They say it's the most read book outside of the Bible, translated in so many different languages, way ahead of its time, by the way. The concept of Think and Grow Rich is exactly what we talked about today. It's quantum physics and energy and frequency. And you will see that all the chapters that talk about this, there's so much value in the Think and Grow Rich because it's working on those quantum levels. Now, if you need to go a little deeper and check out some of the resources I shared tonight so that you can believe, see, the new science is the new spirituality. It's actually starting to prove what we can't see with our own eyes, which is frequency and energy. And that's what excites me the most. So there's this quote that I really thought was really good to bring it forth and kind of wrap it up for a very powerful focus and a very powerful closing is, Think and Grow Rich, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. That quote directly written in the 1930s by Napoleon Hill, who wanted to know why affluent families, the Carnegies, the Fords, how they were achieving such incredible wealth. And that's because if you can see it, if you can imagine it, then it is possible. Did you know that the imagination is the most powerful tool that you have? Every single one of us has the ability to imagine. And if you can conceive it and you can imagine it, you can absolutely achieve it if you believe it. And that's where the challenge lies. We have old programmings. We got to get clear on what's standing in our way, what old belief values are no longer serving you and impacting your business, because your business will be an extension of actually who you are. So what I recommend everybody on this call to do is I recommend them to go through the Think and Grow Rich Napoleon Hill book if you haven't already. Check out the resources if you haven't already. Get clear on what it is that you need to bridge the gap on so that you can show up bigger, better, stronger in your business model. Because I can guarantee you this, this business is real. 5 years ago, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to pay bills. I didn't know what it looked like. I just knew what I wanted. Fast forward, the company's always paid. The company's always delivered. The company's always supported. The upline has always been there. It is real. The foundation is there to create it. If you want to be a part of that, welcome aboard. If you want to be supported by that, welcome aboard. So win-win situation here. We will show up as much as you're willing to show up. So your real wealth, another quote by Napoleon Hill, cannot be measured by what you have, but by who you are. And that quote, by the way, was wrong. I wrote it wrong in the text. I just realized that right now. But it's really not measured by what you have, but who you are. And that's exactly what abundance and wealth does to you. It takes you out of survival. So those of you that are still going through survival mode, I can empathize with you. It is real. But I need you to stop thinking in survival. I want you to start daydreaming. Give yourself permission to imagine and live a different life. The coaching tips I give to my team in this: surround yourself around the things that make you feel good. That means if it's visual, get Pinterest, go to Google Images. It's free, by the way, and type in what makes you feel. What is your dream? Do you want a house by the ocean? Do you want a beautiful dream kitchen? Do you want a cleaning lady? Like, there's no limit. It's your life. Start Googling and find images that just, when you look at it and you feel that smile, that high, and you can just get lost in that image, that is the image you need to screenshot and save it in your photos or download or do what you got to do. But I need you to look at that every night before you go to bed. When you are working around your day, good music is another way I can raise my vibration. Think about things you can do to start raising the energy so that you can start broadcasting and showing up very differently in your world. Think about all the things you can do to start changing the energy, and understand and take inventory of what no longer serving you. Because when you become better, bigger, stronger, and you start stepping out of survival, which many of you on this call will, just like 5 years ago, I used to listen to this call and I thought, wow, one day it will be you. I promise you that, if you stick through with it and you let us help you help yourself. It will manifest, it will unfold. It is written if that's what you want, because every possibility in the quantum universe exists. It's just up to you to decide what that reality looks like for you. And Think and Grow Rich goes through their 13 steps. It wraps up the book in summary, but this book is magic and these topics are real. So I'm going to invite everybody on this call to decide what it is that you want. Decide who you want to become. If you are already a top earner and you're listening to this call, I'd love for you to think about what legacy you want to leave, because we can't keep playing small. We need to bring on new leaders, and we also got to get bigger, better, more expansive ourselves. And we got to start unifying and start recreating the new 2.0 and becoming examples of that, so we can work as a unified field. Because when we do that, the energy and the broadcasting gets bigger, badder, longer, louder, and it's going to be absolutely delicious and exciting. I'm excited about opening up new countries. I'm excited about other countries around the world where an extra $300 is changing the trajectory of many people's lives. I'm excited about that, and I want to be a vision of that. The question is, do you want to be a vision of that too? What is your vision? So I will leave you with that question to ponder. Enjoy your beautiful beverage tonight. You know, again, I will close with my favorite quote, my favorite mug. What would you attempt to do if you knew you couldn't fail? Go off and dream. Your imagination is your most powerful tool. I give you permission tonight. Do it, enjoy it. Don't let anybody think you're crazy. And guess what? If they think you are, so be it. All have a fabulous good night. Looking forward to seeing you all on the cruise, at the events, online, whatever it is. Have a joyous, beautiful night. Be on purpose, be on power. We love you all. And that's it. Happy Organo. Look forward to seeing you guys on stage and around the world.